20 years ago, I started an exercise program, first of many exercise programs, and I'd go and I'd stop. I'd go and I'd stop. And I'd go and I'd stop. Does that sound familiar? I thought it was my fault. I didn't have the self-discipline or the motivation or the willpower or any of those things you hear about. And I got down on myself. Finally, I went through a process through all this time. I was studying and learning and reading and going to events and programs. And I picked up a couple ideas that I started implementing for my business. One of the things I started doing was I started writing down an affirmation. And I wrote down every day, I weigh less than 190 pounds, I have a 32-inch waist with rock-hard six-pack abs, I have less than 9% body fat, I eat healthy foods and drink plenty of water, yada, yada, yada. And I wrote this down every single day. And I did this for 30, 40 days approximately. On one of the days, a thought popped in my head. I'm writing this down, I exercise every day, and the thought popped in my head. It says, why don't you go do it? And it was in my own voice, and I'm like, it caused me to pause. And I stopped for a second, and I'm like, And then the next thought that popped in my head was, just do 10 minutes. It was almost like I was talking myself into, which later I realized that I was. So I says, I can do 10 minutes. So that day, on November 14, 2006, I went downstairs, I hopped on a treadmill, and I did 10 minutes. That was day one. And I haven't missed a day for over almost 4.5 years. Every single day I've exercised. What it started and what I realized is that I reprogrammed my subconscious mind. It was my subconscious mind that actually talked me into exercising. What I do differently is I take a look at the inner game. In fact, that's the whole point of the whole process, is the inner game. If you don't have the inner game, you're not going to have the outer game. We work on the mindset. We help you build programs in your mind to create habits. One of the things I learned a long time ago is when you're looking for a teacher or someone to help you improve any area of your life, to make sure that they've been there, done it, that they know what you're going through. It doesn't mean if they have a bunch of initials behind your name, that doesn't necessarily make that much difference. If someone hasn't done it, been there, done it, and they really aren't able to empathize. And if they've been there, done it, chances are they followed some kind of formula or a system or a recipe. I mean, if you had a recipe to make cookies, if you've never made cookies before, you can make the cookies. I tweaked a little bit from here and there and gathered a bunch of information, and I put it together into a system where now anyone can follow it just like a recipe. Depending on how strongly you desire, I mean, your success could be quick or it could take a little bit longer. My goal is for my clients to achieve whatever their goals are. My goal is to have a 32-inch waist. That might not even be anything near what you want. But I can help you get what you want by following my program. It's up to you to determine what you want. And once you determine what you want, a lot of people don't think that they can have it because they've failed so many times before. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. There really is. It took me a long time to shuffle through and to filter through all the stuff to get to the stuff that actually works. And I've already done all the hard work for you. Now all you have to do is follow the recipe.